from our Twitter, we haven't actually announced that we're streaming.
I think it was mentioned on one of the updates today.
Oh, okay. All good.
Pretty sure.
We are live, I think.
Hey.
Oh.
Are we live? We may be live.
Schrodinger's stream.
Are we alive or not?
I know,
Yeah.
it's very uncertain right now. I think we are. Let me move the OBS off the screen so that that's not in the way.
May I have a link, perhaps, please?
Yes, 1 second.
Thank you.
Okay, we're currently unlisted. We're about to be made live by Jamie.
Ooh.
I am sending you a link via our Slack channel.
Beautiful.
There's one for you. There's one for you. Right, so I think with my extremely shaky understanding of how to use the streaming features on YouTube, I think we're live. If we are live, hello. I'm Russ, and this is Tom. He is below me on my screen, and this is Richard. He is above me on my screen, as is only right and proper.
And in light.
Yes, hello and welcome. This is us live streaming. Tom is going to be sculpting a Tinkermage Scotch-fold cat as voted for by the wonderful backing community on our current Kickstarter, Animal Adventures to Faraway Sea. As you can see, as we did with our very successful stream a few nights ago when we worked on the Bloodhound Watcher character, we have done some preliminary work so that the character is far enough along that we're not just kind of tweaking noses and things at the start of this, but we're actually going to be doing something of substance. I'm going to hand over to Tom.
That's me. Right. Hi, I'm Tom. I'm senior sculptor here at Steamforged Games, and we'll be looking at the Tinkermage cat. So, I did a bit of prep, a little bit of homework before I started the stream today, and I've a few ideas that I want to implement, and a few ideas, some of the amazing ideas on the Faraway Sea Kickstarter comments. Really, really, really cool stuff. And I've taken a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and a top hat. And I've come up with this so far. So I saw a fantastic suggestion for a Scottish fold. I am very particular to Scottish folds. I think they're absolutely adorable.
Can you do the accent?
I wouldn't want to embarrass everybody. I'm so sorry.
I think either do the accent or maybe do a Norwegian cat. Can you do a Norwegian accent?
I will not try for the fear of offending many, many thousands of people, Richard. Well,
fine. So that's the way you want it.
Well, I'll sculpt it instead. That's where my talents lay. So yeah. And I've opted to make the back half of this cat mechanical to represent his mechanical nature. And I love the idea of a story about, this little inventor helping overcome his own challenges in life and aiding themselves in their adventures and maybe giving themselves a little bit of a boost as well. Maybe they used to jump really high or run extra further, or maybe stores their tools in it. Who knows? But this is where we're at so far with this cat.
The rules for the Tinkermage have been written by the very talented and very experienced Brian Suskind, who's done a lot of work for Cobalt Press, who, if you're into 5e games or 5e products, you'll know, because all the stuff they do pretty much is amazing. And the rules are brilliant. I got them the sort of finished draft, which I'll be polishing up, and they are extremely good. And they don't feature top hats, but I will insert some in there in order to make everybody happy.
Oh, I'm happy with that.
We've got some people in chat already saying hi and talking about Scotch Fold is a very popular choice for the cats. People saying how much they enjoyed how the Bloodhound turned out. We've
Excellent.
had somebody saying that steampunk goggles or at least a monocle would be a solid move. So we'll add that to the list of possibilities.
Oh, can we have a vote? Can we have a vote?
Having actually multiple votes coming in for monocles. Call it out in goggles versus monocle in the
full
chat,
welding
people.
gear. Full welding gear.
No, not full weld. We could have full welding gear.
Laser pointer, Victorian ruffle dress. It's all it's all being thrown out there.
Oh, I love that. I
A
love the
great
idea.
big pocket watch.
Wow.
If the top hat is staying, it should definitely be a monocle. Is the comment that I'm seeing here.
We got goggle.
It could well be a 50-50 split.
It's neck and neck.
And then some
little twist as well?
crazy person called Richard August has said full welding gear, but I think we can all ignore that.
We can ignore
Solid gold legend is somebody who said that. I'm pretty sure.
So yeah.
Until
Sorry, so I was just going to say we're going to be on for about at least an hour and a half, so there should be plenty of time for us to do some of this, and hopefully as people join us as they go along, that'd be cool. Can we have him on top of a mechanical scratching post? Someone said in chat, which is kind of cool.
what does a mechanical scratching post look like?
It looks like a scratching post, but it has gears. And a big
I
key at the
think
top.
it's a scratching post that, if the cat is too aggressive, can scratch back via kind of Inspector Gadget style mechanical arms that appear outside.
Okay. Right, where are you going in first then,
If
Tom?
the cat starts scratching something other than the post, it reaches out and picks it up and tells it off.
Amazing.
And as anybody with a cat would know, that would be amazing for sofa longevity.
So votes in chat for Richard to write mechanical scratching post as a playable character.
Or until we hear more about either the scratching post or the monocle versus goggles, I'm gonna let people chill a bit. Just to update everybody, we're going to be voting on monocle or goggles or glasses. Chuck it in chat. I'll sculpt it, and until then, I'm just going to detail up these legs a little bit.
Yeah.
Add some mechanical gubbins in here.
I'm going to try and keep track. Let me start that again. I'm going to try and keep track of the chat conversation about monocles versus goggles. It is extremely close right now. The grappling arm idea is a fan. I do like the idea of this is the one character class where like mechanical sort of prosthesis and mechanical assists to help the cat do things that a normal cat might not be able to do. I think it really fits the vibe for this character.
Yeah, I like that. Some kind of mechanical arm, something to assist. Maybe hold a weapon, or maybe it's maybe their form of mage hand is a mechanical contraption that reaches out and grabs things.
Oh, that could be fun. Prehensile grappling tail, a can opener. I just want to say to Archmike that saying goggles 3 times doesn't count as 3 votes.
That's cheating.
Just to clarify how that works. Wearing a monocle and goggles on the hat. There's a voice of compromise there. I think monocle is starting to win. 2 monocles. That feels like goggles trying to get in through the back door to me.
Oh,
pince nez would kind of be a compromise.
Sort of Hercule Poirot kind of.
We could give him a little moustache. A little Tinkermage detective would be amazing.
So Tom, talk us through what you're doing at the moment.
Yeah, sure. So basically, while this incredibly intense debate's going on behind me, I'm just detailing up some of the more mechanical parts. I'm basically adding some ridges and just some elements of little fun detail that'd be really fun for people to paint. So I'm thinking that this tail is probably like half hydraulic, half mechanical. I'm thinking about, when you get those sort of really flexible pipes and stuff like that, I want to try and get that kind of feeling and make it feel like really sort of believable and authentic, but also something really fun, like making sure there's some nice grooves for people to highlight and dry brush, and then some nice recesses for that ink to just sit between and really sell like the parts of the body. Like I can imagine these being sort of painted like bright gold, or you could go for rubber, something like that.
Oh, I like the idea of it being like a sort of like brass rings, like over like a dark, like a rubber or or some other flexible core. That could look really cool. I'm minded of. I don't know if either of you remember these, but when I was a little kid, we had these like plastic snakes, and they were segmented, and they had a little hinge.
Yes.
So if you held them, they sort of wave from side to side. It's got that kind of vibe to it. Someone suggested a jeweler's glass in the update comments. That's pretty cool. Someone would like to know about what program it is that you're using, Tom, which is the main program we use for most of our work. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, sure. So we're using a program called ZBrush or ZBrush, depending on your region of accent. And it's a digital sculpting tool used across all kinds of industries, from figures to miniatures to games to films. It is a universal powerhouse of sculpting.
It is. I always say it is to 3D sculpting what Photoshop is to sort of 2D imaging. It's the program that gets used.
Absolutely.
Universal powerhouse of sculpting is what I call you two.
Oh, he's too kind.
He's a delight. While I'm on checking the comments, someone has suggested, and it's come up several times, telescopic monocle, like a Inspector Gadget.
Ooh.
So sort of
that's really
stack
cool.
it maybe, because that'd give you those multiple layers that you could catch with a brush.
Do you think this will push the vote to monocle if I make it telescopic? Because
I don't know.
We can definitely do that. Multiple layers. That could be really fun. I'm just adding some belt detail just to sort of, how is this harness? How is everything going to attach? Just be comfortable, because things like this need to be really comfortable for them to be using all the time. I want to make sure that we're make things feel practical, but also look fashionable too.
Could he have a little walking satchel? Little doctor's bag, Gladstone bag with mechanical legs on. That'd be cool.
Oh,
Rich. A mechanical satchel. I mean, yeah.
I mean, you give me, so you come back and go, oh, we just added this thing you've now got to come up with rules for. I'm just returning the favour.
I like it. No, I mean, you know,
I do like it.
It's a quid pro quo game.
I do like it. I don't hate it. I definitely don't hate it. Yeah, I saw a lot of discussion about potentially mechanical mice.
Mechanical mice, mechanical mousetrap, wedge of cheese on feet.
Oh, wedge of cheese on feet.
Would it be interesting, because Luna in the last... Was it Luna in Gullet Cove who had the pet mice?
It was not Luna. It was... I can't remember who it was.
No, do we want to tread on their toes with mechanical mice? That's my only concern to the people who've suggested.
It was the Savannah cat, wasn't it? The mechanical satchel with legs is very favourite. Clockwork Mouse is popular. Goggles with one lens being normal, one lens telescopic is in there.
Nice.
Quite a few people saying they'd like to see a sword cane. I do think the sort of Victoriana, this is one of those strange things about I mean, obviously, Dungeons and Dragons as a setting is quite a broad, has a fairly broad aesthetic, and Victoriana and sort of steampunk stuff certainly fits in there. But more than most characters, I feel you can get away with a bit more with the sort of more kind of mechanical class.
Yeah.
So I don't mind it at all.
So I think, now I had a little glance over chat, and I'll let you be the judge on this, but I personally am in favour of a monocle and a telescopic monocle. Yeah, definitely a telescopic monocle.
I am down for it if you are.
Yeah? Should we give it a go?
A mechanical bird I've seen. The only reason that we might not do a mechanical bird is because our orangutan Tinkermage also has a mechanical bird. So that would be my only reason to not pick that, because I think mechanical animals as a concept generally are pretty cool.
Yes.
And I think one mechanical bird is fine, but two can be a bit much. Can be a bit much.
It's got a slightly importance of being earnest quality to it.
I do agree wholeheartedly, and I think that actually gives more favour to a mechanical mouse, because I think that's just a lovely little connection.
But I do like the idea. I like mechanical animals per se as a concept. I think they're a very nifty, like mechanical familiars are a really, really nice design space visually.
I agree. So, in my head, I think monocle's one personally, and feel free to counteract that point. But I really want to see what a telescopic mechanical monocle would look like.
I'm very keen on that. And as an aside, someone's put about a mechanical frog. And I just love the idea. I mean, I just like frogs, so that would,
I love frogs. Yes, I would do a mechanical frog in a heartbeat.
Ribbit cop.
I'd probably be like a little bit off to the center, wouldn't it be a little bit like that?
Or maybe off to one side, like it, like the ones you get at the opticians where it sort of comes in from the edge.
Oh, like something like this, or like here.
Yeah, because I think you don't want it towards the center of the face because then you're losing some of the character. Whereas if you had one in like the 2 o'clock and the 4 o'clock sort of positions,
a little array of lenses, and then I'm going to want to have like a little thin one like in the middle, something like that. Maybe it's a bit too much. I don't know. I think that's quite cool.
You've got to think about the scale. So this is an interesting sort of chat thing to touch on. Is it's very easy when we're designing these characters to neglect how small they are, but of course, as one of our cat characters on a 20mm base, this will be a very small model. So sometimes with these sorts of shapes, simpler and less is actually better because you'll get more clarity on the final model, and that'll make it easier to paint and make it easier to have that definition and tell at a glance what it is you're looking at when it's down on your gaming table, mixing it up in your dungeons.
I couldn't agree more, and I think 3 is a charm, and I'm going to make a little mechanical arm on the side just to bring it all together, I think. What do you think?
Yeah. That's cool.
It's got a targeting system vibe, which I always like.
Yes.
So what Tom's doing here, if you can see, is when he applies a smoothing effect to the model, it wants to curve itself, and so what he's doing is those little orange, sort of orangey yellow, almost like little pinheads that appear. They control how smooth or sharp a line is. So effectively, it's just a way of controlling the shape and giving them a little bit more fine tuning on creating those mechanical details. And that's going to be really important during this sculpt because obviously we're going to want a lot of unique mechanical sort of that kind of mechanical magical crossover shape. So if we want to do some sort of weapon or firearm, it'll have to have these slightly organic, slightly inorganic crossover forms to get across the idea that it's more than just straight technology.
Absolutely. And I want to see if I can figure out maybe like a little clip that attaches to the hat. I think that could be quite fun. And the whole thing's attached to the hat, and they can just swing it up and swing it down out of the way when it comes, when they need to target something, or something's just to get, just try and get it out of the way if they need to, I don't know, maybe put some sunglasses on or something instead.
That's cool. Just seeing in the chat, Lady Soraya 28 says she's painting a Gullet Cove Mini currently. Which one are you painting? Do let us know. I don't know why I've turned into a Radio 2 DJ, but apparently I have.
I'm living for it. I love it.
And next up, the Eagles.
Text costs 50p plus your standard network rate. I like the idea of like a waistcoat or something. So with the Tinkermage, Richard, are we in the very traditional magic user territory of a character that doesn't really wear a lot of armor?
No, the subclasses mean that you can really tailor the Tinkermage to almost the kind of player your party needs. so they're a bit of a utility class, depending on, what direction your party's going when you first start. Maybe a session 0, if you're very, very, straight into the fight and you don't have much in the way of support. Or if you're very, very support and stand at the back, the Tinkermage can actually be quite rugged and get in there. So it's quite an open class, and you can make it do pretty much what you need to.
So aesthetically for our model, we want maybe to have some sense of clothing that could be armor, but isn't like really heavy and bulky. So we've got that flexibility in the design.
Yeah, that would definitely work.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I think a touch of fashion wouldn't go amiss. I would like to have votes, please, in the chat between tie or bow tie. You can't have neither tie or bow tie. I really want to put a tie or a bow tie on this.
I do support so I don't know how this will affect your design, thinking about these things, but I support the notion that seeing as our watcher dog is very kind of coded towards being a male character with the way we've designed it, this should feel a bit more of a female character, so that we have that nice balance. So that's something to think about as you're designing, I think, Tom. I support the idea of a lady cat.
The name coming to my mind already for this cat is Ada, after Ada Lovelace.
Oh yes, that's good.
With the kind of William Babbage difference engine and all that technology and stuff going on in her role in computer program. There's a definite parallel there.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
That'd be great. So for those who are wondering what I'm doing with all these colours I'm painting on it, is actually I'm making a mask. And when I hit a certain button on here, it will extract this mask as a little waistcoat. But it's whether or not it's going to stay as a waistcoat, I don't know. But I'm going to keep it as like a little mesh, just to help me guide me what I'm going to do with the clothing. Because very much as Russ and Richard have said, like it's all up for grabs right now, and we can have a play around and see what works.
So this is an interesting point. If we're going with Ada Lovelace as our inspiration, all of the main pictures and portraits of her, she has a flower, a decorative flower in her hair. So that might be a design element that we want to bring across, just as a little nod.
That would look great on the hat. Also, Magma 2050, Ada Lovemice, magnificent work.
Ada Lovemice, that's amazing.
That's very, very good.
Tom, I'm going to shoot you a caricature type picture of Ada over, so you can have a look there. Ada Lovemice. Mechanical flower, mechanical rose. Mechanical roses appear elsewhere in this campaign.
Oh, do they now?
Yes, I believe our principal villain has a mechanical rose as a buttonhole.
Mr. T. Fugit. Yes.
Mr. Fugit. Yes.
So what do we think about? I'm actually really interested in the possibility of a Victorian type flowing dress. Just like sort of flowing out here.
It's tough, isn't it? I'm wondering if a shawl might be an opportunity to create that sort of Victorian feminine clothing touchstone without concealing too much of your miniature silhouette, because that would be like a shoulders kind of front of the body kind of thing.
I think that'd be a nice. Sorry, Russ. I was going to say, I think that's a nice contrast in terms of our lovely Ada here has got sort of some clothes that are coded more masculine, so some feminine touches. I think that'd be interesting. A shawl would be a good way to go.
Yeah. So I realised that I was doing that thing that I often do on Conversation with the Sculpting team when we're screen sharing, where I was gesturing at the screen, which no one but me can see, so all that happens is there's just an enormous pair of hands waving around. A short waistcoat with ruffles.
I do like ruffles.
Clockwork explosive mice.
Ooh.
Is she loving mice if they're blowing up?
They're clockwork. They're her own creation, surely. So I'm messing around with some puffy type sleeves.
I do like the idea of a poofed rough sleeve, because we've used that kind of design anyway in other miniatures in the range. Like some of our bards have the sort of very full sleeves. It's a shape that works really well on the models, but of course we've always done like the slashed sort of rough style, which is more kind of Shakespearean, so it'll be nice to update it to something that's got a more Victorian feel.
Yeah, this stage of the sculpt, when we're working on this kind of element, we always feel like it really is pushing play around and finding out what shapes work and what shapes don't work. I may find that these puffy ruffles actually don't work out at all, but I always love... We use spheres a lot in our design work, so it really helps to sort of plan things out, because you can see the mass of everything. You can look from a distance, where silhouette's really important and really key. So yeah, I think it works. I'm not overly sure about these puffy bits quite yet, but it might grow on me.
Knowing the way our processes go, seeing as it was the only thing that you'd really established at the start was the top hat, I would put money on the fact that you'll have got rid of it by the end of the sculpt, because that's just how things seem to happen right here.
I will go to the war for that top hat. That's not going without a fight. I'm a big fan.
And you know what? I completely agree with you, Richard. 100%. I like the top hat, and it would waste our monocle and our mechanisms if we got rid of it.
But you could have a bonnet instead.
Oh, damn! That's actually a really good idea. I like that.
Well, we've got plenty of time to play with this.
That's a good idea. Now I'm annoyed, because it does make me think, oh, maybe we don't need a top hat, but that top hat is... top hats are cool.
Top hats are cool.
Tom Petty wore a top hat, and he's the coolest man who ever lived. Ergo, top hats are cool.
The breed of cat that we're doing, I've seen a question in chat about it. It's a Scots Fold. It's a breed that we have done previously. We made a Scots Fold Cleric back in the first Cats and Catacombs set, but we've revisited a couple of cat breeds, because there are some really nice cat breeds that we like to lean on, and there aren't quite as many really visually identifiable cat breeds as there are dogs. A lot of cats are mainly defined by fur colour and pattern, and obviously in a black and white sculpt that's quite hard to represent. So we're always on the lookout for cat breeds with really interesting and easy to understand like physical features and shapes. So the Scots Fold is one of those, with the little sad faces and the little curled over ears. They really are quite adorable.
I love them so much. I just had this picture of this adorable little Scots Fold cat, but a big top hat, mechanical gibbons and all sorts around them. I don't know. I couldn't get out of my head, so I had to.
There's a lot of love in the comments, by the way, Tom, for the top hat. You'll be pleased to know. But adding some flower decorative elements and just sort of giving it that kind of feminine touch. Oh, I see what you're doing here. So these extremely aggressive looking spikes that you're seeing appearing at the moment will, once Tom's applies some smoothing, will actually become a much more gentle kind of ruffled shape. But they're going to go through a stage of looking pretty extreme along the way.
So you see, once I apply this process called subdivision, where it basically takes all the tiny polygons and multiplies them and subdivides them. And as it subdivides them, it smooths between all the little peaks and valleys and smooths it all out. But the stronger I make these peaks and valleys before it's smoothed, if I make that really extreme and subdivide it, you'll see that, it's more extreme on the fold. And you'll see it's more defining of the silhouette. I just love the idea of this cat's just pounced down using its mechanical legs. It's got this little shawl kind of like floating in the wind, almost like a little cape, like a mini cape. I love it, and I just really love adding a bit of like sense of like dynamic, interaction in the scene.
She should have.
I'd love to. Sorry, go on.
Someone has commented she should have a favourite flower. That feels like an interesting idea. Whilst we've got people we've still got people joining the chat, so welcome.
Oh wow, welcome.
Just to say, as we're working on this, if you have questions either about the sculpting process or more creative questions about the overall process of the working on animal adventures, or anything about the Faraway Sea, or how things are going, we're happy to take a look at those questions, and we'll answer what we can. It's why we're here. Pocket napkin would look very classy in a waistcoat. See, this is the thing about going with the Victoriana kind of idea, is it's always going like there's such elegance to the clothing that there's almost no bad choice that we can make in terms of the design. So that's a nice little thing Tom's doing there, which automatically, so he was working on a single sort of, it was almost like a sheet of paper, that yellow area, and then he's got a controller that's thickening it and turning it into a solid object to work with on the model.
So now I can preview what it's like when it's all smooth, so I can move things around, we can add some flow, add some wind. Now, how do you think this should be tied up at the front? Do you want like a little knot with little tassels floating in the wind?
I think that could be a really nice, like, floral brooch pin.
Oh, okay, yeah, I like that.
I could see
that'd be
that
really
working.
nice. Like really big and chunky, so it's really nice. Should I keep it plain, or so people can paint their own floral pattern on it, or do you want me to embed some kind of flower detail to it?
I think we put some floral detail into it. Floral, it doesn't have to be super complicated. Do you remember like the lovely flowers that Holly put on Pearl's robes for Gullet Cove? That kind of feel.
Yes.
There could be screwdrivers in there. Someone's.
It's quite a jump in thematic. It could be flowers, lovely flowers on the bridge. It could be screwdrivers.
Well, I'm saying one thing and then I'm glancing at chat and there's something else happening. Someone's asked what drove us to create the 8 Awakened Animals minis. So it started with Dungeons and Doggies, which was a collaboration between myself and the incredibly talented April Prime, who did all of the character designs, and from there we then went on and designed Cats and Catacombs, and things just grew from there. And even now, here we are with what's this Kickstarter as our 4th project with the Animal Adventures, and obviously things have grown from fairly humble beginnings. Now we have Richard leading the writing team side of things, and we have April is still producing amazing character designs for all of the projects, and she's currently working on a fantastic design for the cover, which is also going to be the GM screen, which I'm really excited about. Along the way, we've acquired new artists. We've got loads of amazing illustrators working on it. We've got another amazing concept artist called Shane, who did a lot of the cat designs. But yeah, it all began amazingly because April had designed a golden retriever wizard, and I was looking for someone to do some character art for my D&D campaign, and I said I would trade a sculpt for a piece of art, and April showed me the golden retriever, and from that the idea of doing Dungeons and Doggies was born. And fortunately for us, Steamforged believed in our crazy idea enough to support us getting it out there, and as they say so often, the rest is history. That's cool. I like that, Tom. Very, very nice.
Little gems in there. I'll see how it looks on the character. I might put a spanner in the middle.
Someone says, are there going to be more battle
Literal
maps?
spanner in the works.
Yeah. We're going to be doing some more battle map work. Have we got battle map stuff coming? I'm sure we have. There's something to do with battle maps happening because we're having more maps in this than in our previous campaign. We've got more maps, and of course we've got the. We're very fortunate to be working with Devon Rue on having cartographical maps as well as battle maps.
That's really exciting. I can't believe we're working with Devon. It's amazing. Like, love her work so much. I think it's really going to be exciting to see what they do with the community vote island because, oh my god, it's crazy. Everything's made out of glass.
Ooh.
Yeah. And not entirely sure what I was thinking when I gave those options, but
I think it's fantastic. I'm really excited, and I've seen some of the
you don't have to write it.
Well, that is true. Someone suggested, by the way, and I kind of like this idea, so it's certainly something to pop on the consider for later option, is doing the opposite to the obvious thing with the top hat. Instead of making it bigger and more ornate, doing the very small, like, fascinator top hats that ladies wear, so like almost off to one side. That could be an interesting possibility.
I feel that sounds a bit cattish.
What do we think? Do we think that works? Just like a little bit smaller. You still got the attachment going for the. I'll just adjust that.
I think that looks great.
Look at that. That is character in a cat.
I can see it.
Laurie asking, do we have plans to add more types of animals? We kind of we try not to plan too far ahead. But if touchwood everything goes as well as we hope, then that is something we are certainly going to be thinking about very, very seriously.
So yeah.
Because I want to play Rhino, and until I play Rhino, I will not be happy.
I was about to comment that we have rules, not plans, but rules. But one of the things you just said contradicts one of the rules we have. So one of the the set of rules that we put in place is we can't do anything. So with our animals, we try and keep the animals as close to their real size as we can, which means that we can't do any animals that are too small because you can't do any mice or anything as small as that, or guinea pigs, much as I would love to. My god, guinea pigs would be so amazing. We don't want to do anything too large because as a set of rules, 5th edition kind of limits you to anything that's a medium-sized creature. There are all sorts of weird things that happen if you have a 50mm base and have a large-sized creature as your player character. And it always needs to be something that could plausibly manipulate equipment in some way so that it can be used as a character. So within those sorts of limitations that we've set ourselves, there's still dozens, probably hundreds of animals we could choose to do.
Shetland pony.
Shetland pony, I
Just
do
putting it
not
out there
mind. I do not
because
mind.
it's small enough, adorable. Why not?
I do not mind a Shetland pony one little bit, I'm not going to lie. I actually don't mind a rhino if we could get it on a small base.
Baby rhino. I mean, look, if we can do a baby kraken, the sky's the limit. Like a baby frost giant, be a regular human.
It's just
that's
a
not
man,
even an animal.
Just a man with a beard.
Exactly.
I'm sure
What do we think
there
of the
are
flower?
small rhinos. I'm sure there must be.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a pygmy rhino.
Pygmy hippo.
Oh, pygmy. Maybe I'm thinking of pygmy hippo.
Oh.
Either way, pygmy hippo. If
Put that
All
on the
going well.
list. Pygmy hippo.
that is on that list.
Someone's
Full
commented,
credit.
what about an awakened dire animal? An awakened dire badger. The badger was one of the things, I mean, like, we knew that we had to get down to 10 to 12 animals for this set. We must have had I don't know, 30, 40 animals on the list. And Badger was one of the ones that came real close to making the cut and got dropped at the 11th hour, and I'm sure we'll return to. And that would have been the Badger of the sort of English black and white variety, not the crazed honey variety. Although, you never know.
Mm-hmm.
If we do another Kickstarter and we do a badger, then I think the live sculpt has to be a honey badger.
Oh yes. I think I put a bit of detail and some flair onto these mechanical plates. Be interesting. So I've left a bit of space on the back here, and I'm actually going to put a magical power pack with like some kind of crystal infused in the middle. So all of these mechanical elements are being like fueled by this magical crystal, which is like generating all this power to help move all the parts by magic, of course. So that'll enable us to put some little attachments on it, maybe, and maybe even some kind of arm or something for the mage hand. I don't know, but I'm going to have a little look at that. But what do we think about the top hat now? So we have a little flower on it. We have a love.
Let's see. How does the model feel without the top hat? Can you just switch the top hat layer off? Is that a possibility?
I certainly can, although I don't know why I'd want to. This is how it looks without the top hat.
And back on again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's the back end of a cat. Yeah, we definitely need something there. It really helps to break that silhouette up. So even if the top hat isn't our final, we definitely need something in that spot.
I think the top hat needs a little bit more character. You see how all these lines are very straight? I feel like something like this, we need to add a bit more character and a bit more organic and fun shapes to it. So really like getting rid of all these straight lines and adding a bit more fun and a bit more...
Yeah, it instantly
organic.
comes to life as soon as you start moving things around like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it really pushes like it's really interesting how you can bring life and character to something that's inanimate, like a hat. I mean,
Yeah.
Okay, for all we know, I'll correct myself, this hat could be very animate. There could be little legs in there, and it's part of one of their abilities, but you never know.
Somebody's pointed out that the ribbon with the flower, normally on a top hat, that would be at the base where the vertical part of the hat meets the brim. So it might be,
so it can be
if
there.
we slide that down, maybe it will feel more kind of placed.
Or maybe Ada's just an iconoclast.
Or maybe she's just an iconoclast.
She's an icon, a fashion icon.
See,
This is how it looks.
That feels a bit more deliberate to me.
Mm-hmm. And I
think that works better. We'll definitely look at the floral elements to get the sort of Ada Lovelace quality in. I'm also excited to think about what mechanical. I think we have kind of settled on the idea there's some sort of mechanical companion going to happen. Part of me wonders if it should be a mechanical mouse or a mechanical bug because of the idea that there's an Ada Lovelace reference, so it needs to have some sort of computing reference. But I also really like the idea of the bag on legs.
I think there's a kind of nice Mary Poppins vibe to certainly the shoulder cape shawl thing. So we could the Gladstone bag that moves around of its own volition and kind of has everything Ada ever needs in it is quite a fun nod to that as well.
That could be a lot of fun.
So you're thinking like a little satchel with mechanical legs running next to them?
Yeah.
It's an interesting idea. I don't think I've ever sculpted a satchel running on legs. I'd love to know what people think in the chat on that one. That could be really fun. What I'm going to do is, while we're mulling over that, I'm going to see if I can start blocking out the backpack, the sort of power generator that'll go on the back.
Okay. We have a comment in there from Chris Hutchings that the moment where we had the hat hidden and you just had the ribbon and the flower, that was quite an interesting look. I think we could spend an awful lot of time just playing with various headwear options. That could be the stream, was just like millinery. So I think we may have to reluctantly accept that we're going to solve that one in the sort of sculpting that you do offline.
May have to be the case.
I think welcome to Steamforged Millinery Hour.
It's actually a very interesting kind of thing to consider, because the head of a character is probably where we spend an awful lot of time, because so much of who that character is going to be expressed through their face and their head. So it is kind of something that you really want to get right.
I completely agree.
What Tom's doing here, just so that just to make it clear, is he's using the sort of geometry tools built into the program to create new shapes that he can then start to turn into more and more complex shapes. So he started with a very basic sort of cube shape, and then by making these selections, the different colors are different selections. Basically, the program recognizes them as separate groups, and it's enabling him to make more and more complex forms, which he can then turn into whatever he needs.
I always enjoy this process because you always start with such a simple shape, and the amount of like complex shapes you can create from that single shape is incredible, and trying to achieve what you want. And
pretty much anything can be started from either a cube, or a sphere, or a cone. They're pretty much what we do everything from.
So Joyce Berger is a woman of exquisite taste. As she said, she would subscribe to the Steamforged Millinery Hour. Just so you know, that's what we're going to be spending a lot of our next sort of 6 months, next quarter on, guys, getting that ready.
Do you know something that would be kind of cool? Someone's commented about a mimic style bag. I love the idea of a mechanical mimic, like building a mimic that's a robot that looks like a bag and has like mechanical teeth, like a pseudo mimic, mecha mimic.
I like that. That's very cool.
Mechanical mimic bag. Yeah, I like that. Okay, definitely go look into that after this.
And obviously, Ada calls it Mimi, a mechanical mimic.
Naturally, the screaming Mimi. Someone's commented, we have form for hats. They got a Harry the Hat miniature. Now, Tom and I have history with Harry the Hat, don't we, Tom?
Yeah, we do. We have both sculpted Harry the Hat.
For different...
And didn't know about it.
No, we didn't. It was before we even knew each other, because Harry was a character that Tom and I both worked on, that was a dual character. It appeared in 2 different game systems owned by 2 different companies. And there was some sort of partnership agreement that I wasn't privy to. So we both independently created a Harry the Hat miniature. I think there's probably, between both games, been about 4 or 5 different Harrys.
There's a lot of Harrys.
There's a lot of Harrys in the world.
Yes, so this is coming on quite nicely. So in the grand scheme of things, on zoom out, I'm going to pop this square and center on the back of the mechanical part. I'm pointing at my screen now, and it's useless, but I'm going to put on some straps, maybe some little pipes coming out, maybe some tools are strapped to the side, just like a little power generator to really sort of tie everything together, like a little computer in there. I think it could be really cool.
I feel it's going to need some more gearing or elements that give it that more steampunky fantasy vibe, but I love the basic shape, and it's not too fussy, because again, on the model that's going to be what, 8 or 9 millimeters across. It will not be it will not be large piece. So that few well-defined shapes will make for a really nice element.
And that's something really interesting to touch on, actually, is that when we do a lot of our sculpting here at Steamforged, it's like, as much as I'd love to go into high fidelity flowers on the jacket, for example, you've really got to practice a lot of self-discipline and say, no, I can't add that extra layer of detail because it's simply not going to exist on the model when it's produced because of manufacturing requirements.
It's definitely an exercise in less is more.
Oh yes.
But it'd be interesting to. I mean, someone's commented just now. Archmike said maybe put a jewel in the middle, a teapot and a teacup on a mechanical arm. Actually, a tea set on robot legs might be quite a lot of fun as well. There's probably going to be an opportunity to. This is one of the things that we will do quite a lot when we talk about characters. Is start to look for elements that can become a motif. So, for example, we might decide that the floral element is going to be our motif, and we're going to put flowers on the trim of her shawl, and then we can have a floral motif. So even these bits of equipment where we'd have dials or screws in the corners of the backpack, maybe it's brass flowers that hold it into place. So we'll start to look for design elements that we can repeat and start to use as things that express the character and make that piece feel unique to them.
I like the idea of the flowers. That's given me a really good idea. I'm gonna start dressing this with like sort of mechanical looking flowers, and I'm gonna get some cogs on here as well.
Yeah.
And some...
I like the idea. I mean, that cog might be a little
bit strong,
but nice nonetheless. There's some love for the teapot idea, so that's nice.
Excellent.
There was something I said. Oh, can the gear legs get some filigree? Yeah, we can demonstrate how you're going to sort of do filigree in detail in a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. I'm really excited for that. I love doing that.
The question from Scarlett about, she says that she's been running the starter set, and Dr. Krankenstein has survived and is still bedeviling the party. And if he got his way in making the monster out of the cats and dogs, what would its stats be similar to? I'm thinking Flesh Golem would be an obvious go-to. That would be.
Sorry, go
on. No, go on, Russ. You jump in by all means.
I was just going to say, if you were thinking in terms of monsters that have been statted for Animal Adventures, I would think the Rataclysm wouldn't be a bad.
The Rataclysm would definitely be close. I guess it depends on. I think the Rataclysm is a challenge 8. It's pretty nasty.
It's a tough monster.
Yeah, whereas the Flesh Golem is a 5, challenge rating 5. So it depends very much on what level your player characters have reached by this point. I would think if you're playing from the start set, they're probably sort of getting on for 5 or 6 in terms of level. So I would think the Rataclysm is actually a really good shout. And in fact, that could be an explanation for how the Rataclysm got created. And you could maybe, if you've got Gullet Cove, you could shift up some of the background there and connect Dr. Krankenstein with the devilish Rat King.
I mean, we'll base the Goblin Napper's designs on the Goblin illustrations from that set, just to give that little design through line. So they're all options.
And the Cunning Man has got the Goblin Nappers on his side, and he's got connections with the Rat King, so it actually dovetails really nicely. And so if you do run that campaign, send us an email and let us know, or tell us who you pick for your players to defeat if they defeat them.
There was a question I saw. The chat's moving quite quickly. 1 second. Yes, someone said, do we have a favourite Animal Adventures miniature to have sculpted / to have painted? Where did I see that comment? It was Lady Soria28 asked that. Do either of you want to answer first? A favourite miniature, either for the paint job or for the sculpt?
Ooh, you go first, Richard. I've got a few.
Okay. Mine is. It is a tough question. There are some great.
It's a really tough question. I'm having to think about because there's so many like.
I love the Watcher, Galter of Hexia, but I think I remember being sent the early versions of it and just thinking, if you work in design and development for RPGs and stuff like I do, one of the best parts is coming up with a few notes and a few ideas and sending them off to the amazing sculpting team we have, and then seeing what they come back with. And I remember essentially writing the words "were shark."
Oh god!
Just thinking, they'll do something with it, and they came back, and it was such a ridiculously brilliant miniature, and so much more full of life and energy and nasty, visceral nastiness that it just blew me away. So I cannot look past Mr. Requin, the finned horror from Gullet Cove. That is just a brilliant miniature.
And that ties in very nicely what I'm going to say, because that's one of my favourite sculpts to do. I love doing that. I'm a sucker for sharks. I love them so much. Did a shark for Bardsong. Did a shark for the very kind help of Ben. Did a very good shark for Bardsong. That was awesome. And the were shark was. I just enjoyed every minute of it. I mean, I get to say I make sharks for a living. I mean, that's kind of cool, right? I mean, not many people can say that.
I'm going to go to the other end of the scale entirely here. I'm going to choose two models because I'm greedy. I'm going to choose my favourite sculpt that I worked on, and then my favourite sculpt that somebody else has designed. My favourite sculpt that I've worked on, probably, it's really hard not to pick Cornelius, because he was the very first character for the whole that started the entire thing. So, and I think like the golden retriever and the big floppy wizard's hat, it's such an iconic kind of look that I just can't not love it.
It is iconic.
Like I am in terms of overall favourite sculpts, maybe not favourite because there are so many, it's really hard to choose, but I am a massive fan of the koala druid from this set that that Ben did. I think it's a great looking model. It's just bursting with character, and it's just absolutely adorable. Hello. We have been joined by Bo, my youngest spaniel, who is come for a cuddle. Good girl, aren't you?
So just to fill everybody in on what's happening at the moment, I'm currently, the backpack is in place, and I'm currently figuring out maybe some mechanical piping that's going to go into the legs. And what I'll do is I'll do this leg as an example. And I'm thinking there's a socket on the leg, and all the filigree like flows around the socket, so it's like part of the design.
That's cool. I can see that.
But what I'm trying to do right now is I'd love to be able to have this pipe to flow out like this. But when we're making plastic miniatures, we can't have that hole there because that'll be a separate part that glues in.
Say hello to the camera. There you go. You are.
I'm being upstaged. I'm so sorry.
Just a quick shout out to Soda Flubs. You don't have to, if you're back in the Kickstarter and you can't get the Gullet Cove minis right now, they will be available in the Pledge Manager. So if you can't afford them now, and believe me, as a man who has backed well over 250 Kickstarters, I know the organising and shifting around of funds it requires. You can get them later. So just they'll be available in the Pledge Manager, and they'll be available until basically this project is pretty much finished.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I backed it. Wow.
It was a big thing, actually, being able to include those. It's something that's been really nice about this Kickstarter, has been sort of able to respond to those requests.
I'm really happy people are going to be able to get their hands on those minis again, you know. As part
Well,
of this
some of our
Kickstarter.
favourite sculpts are in that set. I mean, we wrote a whole song about the Tooth and Claw set because we're crazy people. Yeah, it's really nice that people get to enjoy that. So the spaniel puppy who has now gone to lie on her bed under the table, that was Bo, my younger spaniel. Monty, my older spaniel, is the inspiration for Monty the Bard from the first Dungeons and Doggies set. Bo has, as of yet, not appeared in an Animal Adventures set. Well, it's because I'm trying not to repeat breeds.
Save the best till last, probably. Like, she deserves her own set on her own.
Soda Pubs, yes, you can pay for them separately. So when the pledge manager comes out, you'll be able to basically, you'll have the option to modify your pledge amount to pay for anything extra that you want to add in.
Right. I think it's time to do some fancy filigree.
I'm excited. So one of the things that's genuinely exciting... I've got an echo. Sorry. One of the things that I find really exciting watching Tom work is we use ZBrush in very different ways. Like, everybody on the team has their own kind of way of doing things. So I'm kind of keen to see how Tom approaches this and see if he uses a similar or different method to the way I might do it.
Yeah, it shouldn't be anything too dissimilar to what you've seen before, but it's something I do enjoy doing a lot. So, all right. Make sure it's all the right subdivision. Subdivide that again.
So when he says he's subdividing, what he means is a subdivide is where each of the sort of little square tiles that make up the surface of the model, we call them polygons. Subdividing it splits each one into 4 smaller ones, and then if you subdivide it again, it splits each of those into 4 smaller ones, and so on. So really what he's drawing on is just a set of tiny square or rectangular tiles that get manipulated by the tools. Oh.
So I'm thinking like some kind of swirl.
Cool. So I'm going to ask a technical question now. I apologise to everyone. Are you going to morph target this and use a difference mesh, or are you going to draw it straight onto the surface as a permanent surface feature?
I have morph targeted, which what it means is it's stored the mesh. Everything I'm drawing now is being stored on the layer. And then when it gets to a certain point, I can just say, yep, I want that. And it'll extract it and keep it separate.
So you end up with the filigree as one piece and the original leg as another. So if you need to modify either, they're kept apart.
We thought about toggle fletching the inverse and seeing if that does anything.
What, sorry?
Toggle fletch. It's just something I made up. I just wanted to join in and sound technical.
I don't know. I thought I was missing something of like some kind of like expert filigree kind of knowledge that you were sharing with us.
No, just utter nonsense.
So I'm trying to get some kind of sort of like nice flowy shapes in here.
Someone's saying they like how we've handled the Kickstarter because of not hiding everything behind paywalls, which we appreciate. You know, this sort of having the daily unlocks approach, it doesn't work for every sort of campaign, but it feels right for what we're doing, and it feels right for this community. And we've done stuff with sort of stretch goals and things in the past, but this time we just wanted to be able to say, if you're in the campaign, you're going to get these things, and that's all there is to it. And I think as time's gone on, we've learned sort of, you know, we've worked with our manufacturing partners and we've learned things that help. So, for example, I think it's well documented we can never produce the original Kickstarter exclusives from our early campaigns because the way the molds were designed, we're unable to reuse them. So over time, we've learned about what to request and how to make these things more efficient. So it's every Kickstarter, every campaign we do is a new project and a fresh chance to do something differently. This one, we had a lot of really useful information from doing our community surveys last year, and that really helped inform what we wanted to do with this. And it seems to have worked because the response has been fantastic. Everyone seems to be enjoying the releases, and we've had lots of support, and it's been fantastic, and I think we're all very happy.
I think the way people approach Kickstarter is changing as well, and we want to move with those times, because I think, obviously there's the huge mini heavy board game Kickstarters are wonderful, and you feel like you get lots of stuff, but they also result in in you feeling like you're missing out if you've not got 150 quid, £200 to drop at once, and that's not the kind of approach we want with Animal Adventures, and that's not the kind of community we feel that we've built up. And so it's very much a process of talking to you guys and seeing what you like. And as when Russ mentioned how important the survey was to us, because we got a huge amount of really, really valuable feedback, and it drastically changed how we approached this Kickstarter. It drastically changed the offering we've put forward here. So you're a real part in directing the future of the IP and of shaping it with us. So thank you all for that, and thank you for being here on this stream now.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the great things about this is, although we have to make a lot of creative decisions ahead of launching these sorts of projects, otherwise we would, we can't just sort of come and ask people to just give us some money on trust and we'll show you what we've made. We try and make sure we've got lots ready to go, but at the same time we're trying to really make the community part of the process and part of the journey, because that's the real benefit, that's the opportunity that it offers, and it's really good fun being able to do that. That's cool, Tom. I like that inset. That's really nice.
Because I saw someone in chat suggesting, well, what if one side had the filigree and all fancy, and that's where the pipes go in, and one side is just this lovely floral. I don't know, I just love it. I think it's a really cool idea. And it almost looks like a little exhaust fan as well as being a flower.
Yeah, it could be. It could well be like removing heat. I know they're only placeholders, but those little rivets at the front of the other leg, I think, are just the wrong size, too small at the moment.
Yes, yeah. So that's going to be when I split them off to the morph target. I can scale them and I can change their placements and see if it's quite right. A lot of what I'm doing right now is going to be placeholder for now, and so I can sort of really have a good look at the whole miniature, because it's so easy to get sort of zoom in and like you're really focusing on everything, and you zoom out and go, oh no, that was a huge mistake. There's
a great interview from years ago from the people that were the concept artists for the original Lord of the Rings movies, and they came out a fair few years ago now, and they're talking in their interview about how it was the first time they'd used things like Photoshop and digital painting, and they would spend hours like painting dragon scales and then zoom out and realise they'd spent like 4 hours filling in like half a square inch of a huge canvas because they could just infinitely zoom in. So you do constantly, and you can see Tom doing it, zoom in, zoom out, move the model around, look at it from different perspectives. You can never get too tied up in one thing. It's the reason that although at no point are we calling any of these individual elements finished, we're moving from part to part to part. That's more interesting to watch, but also it helps you from getting too locked on something that's later going to be either unnecessarily detailed or feel weird because it's not been made in the context of the rest of the model.
I think I'm going to give these front legs some love and put some little wrappings around them, maybe some little cuffs. Just something just to sort of...
I'd like to see like a cuff that from that top ruche, like a sleeve that comes down and then has that sort of ruffled trim at the...
I'm thinking cufflinks.
Well, that feels a little more like I'm still thinking about like pushing the clothing style in the more sort of feminine Victorian style.
See, I'm very happy with it being a more ambiguous.
I like the kind of non-binary is not the term I mean in this context. Agender maybe is closer, but I like the combination of things we've got going on here. And I think that the cufflinks, kind of a more masculine shirt, might add to that. However, a ruched sleeve might also look great.
Oh, let's try both. Let's see what it looks like. I think Holly did an amazing ruched sleeve on her cat that she did for Animal Adventure for Faraway Sea, which was the little wizard that was played by in High Rollers.
It was,
little mage cat was so cute.
That was such a great stream. Very
I
enjoyable.
love
Paul Hemstall, you missed the start. Is she pouncing down onto something in particular or just jumping? We haven't actually sort of set the context.
No.
We like the pose and its action. We will quite.
I'll tell you
often-
what. I think it's a great timing actually that, because that's what was the chat think that we want to have for the base for a scenic element. What are they pouncing down on?
Romanov, yes, androgynous. Androgynous is is a better word there. Thank you. Yes.
Is she even pouncing, or is it a run? Is there a sloped surface in there, or is she landing on something? These are the sorts of. Quite often when we're doing this sort of thing, we will sort of find a nice dynamic pose that we like, and then create the elements to support that. Because Tom's got to think in terms of the plastic material the model will be made in, what it can support, what it can manage.
I love the idea of it being maybe just to bring it into sort of in situ of the Faraway Sea. Maybe it's like some kind of splintering ship deck, and the ship's breaking up a little bit around it, maybe it's a shipwreck or something like that, or it could be cobblestones, like really angled cobblestones from like a Victorian kind of street.
Cobbles is a couple of people have thrown cobblestones into the mix.
Sodor Flub has said jumping from a window, and I'm now seeing her jumping from one of the factory windows on the island of Chronologica.
That would
which
be
is
amazing.
Where Tempest, Mr. T. Fugit, holds dominion and scampering away into one of the dark alleys there. So that's now pretty much how I'm seeing this in my head.
Oh, that'd be really cool. What if it was some kind of manhole cover in the cobbles or something?
That's awesome. Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah. I mean, what we could do is we could put like a fancy logo or something on it, or like some cog, or I could even get the face of Mr. Fugit and make like a little template, stamp it on there or something.
Or clock or something would be brilliant.
A clock face grill might be quite nice.
Yeah, because obviously Chronologica. You can see Chronologica in the preview video. It's the steampunk island with the
lighthouse.
The lighthouse, which is in fact a giant clock watching everybody and making sure everybody's working. Some spoilers for you there, but yeah, if we go with the idea of this clock, because there's clocks everywhere in Chronologica. Everything is measured in time, so that would be phenomenal.
In the video, as you pass under the lighthouse, Tom and I spent some time setting up surround sound, so the sound of the cogs passes from one ear to the other. It's a detail that literally nobody has ever noticed, because I don't think the Kickstarter video is in stereo.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed making that the trailer, especially that scene there. It was great fun because like hiding stuff like the miniature for Mr. Fugit is actually on all the buildings, and there's a huge statue of him. He's glowing behind
right at the top, isn't he? Yeah.
The doorway. Like there's so many little Easter eggs. Like the time on all the clocks is the time that we were starting the Kickstarter. I mean, I love hiding little things like that.
I had not spotted that. Wow.
Yeah.
So
it's something I'd pre-agreed with Jamie from marketing, and I really forgot to tell you then, Russ. So yeah, that's a little bit of a secret.
That's amazing.
What I'm doing right now is I'm basically using like a little brush, and what it does, it just hammers off all these edges, so it gives it a little bit more of an organic. We don't want it too mechanical. We want to feel like, oh, these are worn cobbles that have been used like time and time again, carts and all sorts, and all kinds of people have well-travelled.
Can I just highlight Natasha Romanoff's amazing character backstory that's appeared in chat, that she's jumping from a window from the tea shop that she used to work at before her life was turned upside down, and now she travels with her teapot augmented mimic.
Yeah, the cafe cat I don't know whether it's going to be right for Ada, but that will be used one day. I pledge now that we will do a character whose background is they used to work in a cat cafe.
The teapot augmented mimic is starting to have. I'm getting that kind of Mrs. Potts and Chip from Beauty and the Beast, but on little robo legs. You know Richard, you'll get this reference because you're a man of taste and culture. The mini spaceships in Batteries Not Included with their little clumpy feet.
Oh yeah, the
little tiny ones like that, but a teacup at the top. And but they're all like brass and riveted, and not china, but it's like a copper and brass, like steampunk teapot and steampunk cup.
Yeah, that would be epic. You see, I want to base a character around that now. Some kind of sorcerer who, kind of like the Sorcerer's Apprentice, who has these things who now follow her or follow them, and they can't get rid of them, so they've come to an accommodation with them. And the sorcerer ran the cafe.
Yes.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't know whether that's right for Ada, but that's going to be used somewhere one day.
We need to take a moment. Who was it who suggested this? It was Magna 2050. Have a look on Google, Richard, at an 1880s directoire hat, which is like a female. I don't know how to describe it, but it's got a top hat, but feminine and slightly flouncy and pretty cool. This could be a really interesting direction for the hat. This is probably not enough time to model something like this now, but it's very stylish and very cool.
Firstly, I love the fact you said the phrase "an interesting direction for the hat," and secondly, that is a great suggestion. I love the kind of there's a nice, almost like 1920s flapper feel to it. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I can see this working really, really well.
Yeah, what a great suggestion. Thank you.
Pop a pin in that one. Thank you very much.
I'm making a teapot. I just wanted to put that out there that I wasn't planning on making a teapot, but I'm now making a little teapot. I don't know what I'm going to use it for, but I could put mechanical legs on it like you were saying. It's a bit big though. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think it is that big when you consider. I mean, you could maybe. I'm just trying to think. Maybe grab Isandra out of the. I don't know. Like, I feel like we need a human miniature, and I'm just trying to think. We probably need to pull one from this project, so it would be Isandra.
Yeah, I'll bring one in.
Give it Roadrunner legs and it chases her.
Well, I might have it hanging from her belt,
I think that's definitely where you want to put the cup.
Yeah. Because I was thinking was doing the satchel, which has all their gear in, being mechanical, and the teapot being on top of the satchel. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I don't feel this is one that we need to solve today. Just as an FYI, it is 26 minutes past 6. So, seeing as we started a little late, I think we're going to go for about another 20 minutes tops. Is that okay with you, Tom?
It's fine by me.
So, it's what you feel you can achieve in that time. Is that a to scale, Isandra?
It is.
It is.
It's all good.
It's about to be to scale.
Another animal visitor.
Oh, see, that teapot looks pretty good to me.
Actually,
who's
yeah.
this? Who's this, Richard?
This is Bertie. This is Bertie, our middle cat. He is the only one who has any interest in getting on a YouTube stream. The other two have been completely disinterested.
That's amazing.
That's awesome. We have 2 cats, but you will never see them on the stream because neither of them come anywhere near me ever.
Yeah, well, that's our Teeny and Apricot are not unsuited for showbiz, let's say, but Bertie is something of an attention hog.
I love the names that people give cats because, you know, dogs are always called like Bailey and Bo and Copper, and then like cats will be just called Christmas Pudding, like, and it's completely fine.
And you get those people that name their dogs like very human names, like "Come on, Richard! Come on, Richard!" I guess his name's Paul. I find it amusing. I love it. This is definitely a difference between dog owners and cat owners. That is.
The comment from Natasha Romanoff saying, "What about a monitor lizard or a kimono dragon?" Which we did have a monitor lizard on the list. For
that was on the list.
Yeah, and
yes,
sad we had to move away from that one. But
I'm very sad.
Well, actually, Richard, you might know the reasoning for this. Why did pangolin get removed from the list?
Because I hate them.
That's why. I knew somebody did.
Yeah. I just wasn't. I don't like something weird about them. I don't like the way they look. Honestly, that's why.
You heard it here
remember
first, folks.
when we had a big list and we were just going through and kind of things were just being cut. Just don't like pangolins. Sorry to any pangolins out there.
Oh my goodness, my favourite is someone who had a cat named Nigel and then got a boyfriend named Nigel, so he was called Human Nigel. Because of course you don't call the cat Nigel. That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Apparently the cat cafe is called Steampuss, or Steampuss, which, like, I'm sold.
I am not Googling that.
I need to go to a cat cafe really badly. I've never been to one, and I feel like I'm missing out.
They do sound amazing. Although, despite having 2 cats, I am actually allergic to cats, so a cat cafe would probably not be my
Is that why they don't go near you, then?
What? You think they don't go near me out of respect?
Yes, out of respect.
Have you ever
Mutual
met
respect.
a cat?
You never know. You might be sitting there saying, "Oh, those cats don't love me," and they're doing their thing, and they're like, we love them so much that we don't want to go near him and make him sneeze.
We must keep our distance from Russ.
A chameleon rogue.
He is, after all, allergic.
Some people talk about reptiles. A chameleon rogue would be amazing. Just like
chameleon rogue would be
the stealth
awesome.
check is just like.
That'd be overpowered.
Would we be able to do? I mean, how big do chameleons get? They kind of get. Yeah, they're on the small.
They are pretty wee. Yeah, I think you're in Komodo dragon type Gila monster territory if you want to do anything that would work. I mean, I have ideas for what a Komodo dragon would look like, and it would be pretty wicked. What about an aardvark? See, this is what we've done. Last year, all we had to worry about was people endlessly suggesting cat and dog breeds to us. Now we've opened up the entire animal kingdom, and they're all going to sound like great ideas, and we are never going to be able to choose.
Yeah, an aardvark is a good one.
It really is.
Matthew, we do an excellent snake figure in the Epic Encounters range.
It's a big snake.
It's quite a big snake. It will be a little bit bigger than the rest of the models, but I'm sure you can make it work. Oh, an alligator barbarian. That is good.
That's strong, isn't it?
Yeah. We've not seen any pushback on the pangolins, though. Nobody's pining for a pangolin, Russ.
Oh, you'll notice that someone suggested that we put the aardvark in scale mail just to get a pangolin in through the back door while you're not looking.
Well, you've given that away now.
Porcupine Road. Porcupine was on the list. In fact, we actually did start a porcupine design, but the tragedy of the porcupine is that the quills proved to be so problematic for producing a castable miniature that we had to abandon it It doesn't mean we won't solve it in the future, but we had to abandon it for this project. The plus side is that the porcupine having to leave the project is the reason that we got the koala. So, every cloud.
That's a win. That's a definite win.
I stand by sloth bar. Sloth was on my list. Sloth was one I was really pushing for.
Yeah, I was sad when we lost the sloth.
Yeah. But, you have to understand, everybody watching along, that we started with a list that was 40 plus animals long. So many more animals got cut than got made. But it just means that we have an awful lot of potential for future projects, which is the best way to be, really.
Yeah, we've got a lot of ammo. A lot of ammo.
A badger barbarian would be better. I still like the idea of the pygmy hippo barbarian. That's kind of cute.
Yeah, the pygmy hippo barbarian is flat.
The initiative
We've got a first request for a pangolin. James Nichols.
My hero.
You need to take a long, hard look at yourself, James. You've gone wrong.
What's the initiative penalty on a sloth? Basically, you arrange your session, you run the combat, and then the sloth player gets to go the following day.
Yeah, you can play a sloth if you never make it to sessions, and you just find out what happened the next day when you wake up.
I've started a sloth for my 3rd edition campaign, and I'm looking forward to rolling the first dice very soon. I'm being very amused because the auto the anti offensive language filter keeps picking up on animal words that sound vaguely rude, and I'm having to moderate the comment and let it through.
Oh, a Dick Ranger is going to be... Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute too.
Smaller cats like serval cheetah, lynx, and caracal. We actually talked about doing. There was a point where this project would have contained a big cat, and we even talked about doing wolves at one point, didn't we? They're also on our list of things that we could do at some point in the future. And when you have the whole animal kingdom to pick from, half the battle is deciding what not to do.
I do like the idea of a duck-billed platypus. I'm pretty sure we had a platypus on the list again.
Yes.
I think it lost out to a koala because there was a kind of Australian animal off, and the koala won.
So years ago, we used to play the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles RPG, which was produced by Palladium Games. It may still be available. I'm not sure. I haven't seen it for a long time.
Not. You can get hold of it second hand. You can still find copies. Designed by the late great Eric Woodchick.
Yes,
I think that's it.
And that contained. They did a supplement for that called Mutants Down Under, which contained a lot of Australian animals. And there was a piece of artwork in that for a platypus warrior. The whole thing had a very Mad Max vibe as well, because obviously. And they had a platypus warrior in that, and he was absolutely brutal looking. He had a spiked mace, and there was a second drawing of a spiny anteater, and it had a little howdah on its back with a platypus with binoculars coming out the top of it. This is amazing. Maybe that's where my love of animals in role-playing games began.
It certainly explains a lot.
A Galapagos tortoise rogue. Tortoise made the list. Tortoise was a...
Yeah.
Would you consider making paper minis or 3D miniatures? I honestly, it's not something we've ever considered. We'd have to have a discussion because it's not something that's ever come up. Duck-billed platypus lay eggs and produce milk, so technically they can make their own custard.
It's just more evidence of what a lazy animal they are that they don't.
The amazing
That is
thing,
why. That's why the koalas won.
the other thing I know about the platypi is, although they do produce milk, they don't have any milk glands. They have no like special gland for it. It just comes out of their sweat glands. They just sweat milk. Because why not?
We've all been there.
I can imagine an ostrich or an emu monk. That would be pretty cool. What about hybrid animals? Quokka, we got a quokka request.
Yes.
I'd love to do a quokka, the happiest looking animal in the world.
Like hybrid animals would be cool. I think once you go down the Dr. Moreau route, you don't come back. I think it becomes a different game.
I think it could be an interesting enemy.
I think the Rataclysm kind of goes there. We've touched on it a little bit. I would be wary of making hybrid animal player classes, player species, as awesome as it would be.
I think it could be quite a fun one-shot to have some kind of hybrid animal thing, but purely as a one-shot, as opposed to it being, maybe full official rules. I think it could be really fun to play a little one-shot where you're escaping from like a little laboratory or something like that.
I wouldn't mind. I think before we did hybrid animals, I'd look at creating some more sort of dual class stuff, doing it through the classes rather than the species. But so I'm just on my other screen. I'm happily entertaining myself just by looking at pictures of quokkas because they're so cute.
I think I was extremely soothed by Tom doing the stitching on the bag.
Yeah.
The way it just appeared. I could watch that for hours.
It's such a big bag that I think it's worthwhile, I love doing a little stitch. Tell you what, just for you, Rich, I'm going to do some stitching on the inside too, if you're ready.
Yes.
Are you ready?
So I'm just going to be falling asleep slowly. And
this is Bob Ross levels of chill when we're doing this kind of thing.
Yeah, the Emu War. One of the great historical stories. And actually, it would be good, but a little too small, unfortunately.
Yeah. Kangaroos and wallabies could be fun. See, the reason that we put the koala in was because we wanted to make sure we were sort of repping animals from further afield than just kind of the more sort of Eurocentric common animals. But yeah, Australia has some really unique animal species. There's just, again, there's so many options, so many things that we could do. Every single time we do one of these projects, it seems to end with Richard and I going, oh, but we could do all of the following things as well. And then promising that that's for next time.
And we do, this is the thing, to give people an idea of how much this project has changed and evolved. Russ and I have an entire other setting.
Yes.
Pretty much. Obviously it's yet to be kind of fully written down, but fairly fleshed out, and it's like major features and characters all noted down, and then we went completely the other way. So there is lots and lots of legs, both on the animals we could sculpt and in hopefully the Animal Adventures range of products still to come.
Centipede.
Oh yeah, what about monkeys? Not mentioned monkeys.
Well, we've got an orangutan, which I grant you is not a monkey but an ape. But
you call the librarian a monkey, and you see what happens, mate.
Absolutely. The other setting that we did, for those who are interested in having a dig and seeing if they can find it, we were so confident that was the direction we were going to go in. We actually did commission a piece of art to include in Gullet Cove as a teaser, and then we decided to do something completely different instead.
Yeah, we won't. I don't think we'll give away the name. We still want to use. I mean, because I think it's a really cool setting,
Yes.
and it may one day form, even if it's just a couple of adventures or something. I think it could be really cool. So there is, yeah, like Russ says, there is a teaser piece in the Gullet Cove book, which features how shall I put this without giving too much away? It features something clearly out of place being delivered. That's probably too obvious a clue.
That's very clear. But I say that knowing what it means, so maybe it's not as clear.
Okay, as someone who does no idea what it means, I have not the slightest clue what you're on about.
Got from one of our other wonderful sculptors, Holly. She's suggested a snail necromancer.
Yes.
And that it's difficult to describe how much I dislike those giant snails.
Giant snail necromancer.
They make me feel extremely uncomfortable. So that means that they'll almost certainly go in. So that could well happen, Holly. Yeah, you'll probably end up sculpting it.
They do get really big, those snails, actually, don't they?
They really, really do.
Oh, and the people who have them as pets and have them on their arms and stuff. No.
I should flag that we are at. We're just coming up on 6:45 UK time, so officially we need to be. We should be finishing if we're following our stream schedule. How are you doing there, Tom?
I'm great. You know what? I'm actually really relaxed. I'm enjoying making this little teapot. I say little, it's really big, and I probably need to scale it down a little bit. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I just need to give it little mechanical legs. Now, do we want mechanical legs, or do we want like a little wheel?
Oh, I like the idea. Well, you see, the wheel up on its on the other axis makes it look like a Tommy gun teapot, and I now want to see where that goes.
Are you thinking about the whole bag being supported by wheels and or?
Yes, like a little rack of wheels, like little mechanical wheels coming out the bottom.
I kind of want it on a single wheel, like I'm getting what's the robot familiar in Borderlands called?
Oh yes, Claptrap.
Claptrap. I'm getting a slightly Claptrap vibe.
I think we should tilt the whole bag like this. I don't know. I think mechanical legs would fit in very nicely, personally.
I could see that. I could definitely see that.
As opposed to a wheel.
Actually, yeah, with a tilt on it, then there can be a little bit of spilled. She's going to be spilling the tea.
Exactly. I'm going to have. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to spill the tea.
So, just to flag up, this is another example of where we can use existing parts that we've got from our parts library to proxy in something just to get a sense of it, and then it gives us the opportunity to get the big shapes established and then build something that's more appropriate for the piece in slower time. That's hilarious.
I actually love this. No, this is actually where I want to go with it. I'm sorry, Russ. This is now my prerogative to actually put tiny little boots on this little bag.
I feel like there should be some sort of intervention.
Most possibly, but I don't know. I quite like it. This is definitely the most unique sculpt I've done. One of the unique sculpts I've done.
Such a sassy pose just then with the one leg up.
See,
oh my!
I actually live for this. This is brilliant. I see my little holes with the thing. And I tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to put loads of equipment on the back, like sort of spanners and stuff like that. I don't know. I think this is really good. And I need to get the tea spilling. That's the most important thing for me.
Okay, and I think that's where we'll probably wrap once you've got some tea in the pot.
Perfection.
I almost want it to have little mechanical arms carrying the teacup now, but I think just the legs is kind of a thing of beauty. The buckles almost look like eyes. Yes, they do.
Yes, that's the intention. I was trying to see can we make it slightly humanoid, slightly mimicky, see where we can go with that. I think it'd be really fun. So I'm just going to smooth this out. I'm going to get a bit of tea dripping down the edge.
You can get a really nice the inflate brush gives a really nice liquid shape to that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's always a good tip. Bit of tea spilling out over the edge. And last thing, this is really important. I need to get a little tea bag, don't I?
I thought you were doing sugar cubes.
I could definitely do sugar cubes, but I think a tea bag is essential. What I'm doing is, because the tea bag's going to be so thin, I'm just going to backface that straight into it, meaning that the whole bag will go straight in like that.
Lady V, spilled tea in clear plastic. It is producible, but it makes the model like about 10 times the cost. Unfortunately, working in multiple materials on one model is really shockingly expensive. So it's unfortunately not very practical for the project.
I'd love to do it though.
But we've had so many ideas for things where we could use clear plastic elements in the past. It's one of those, we keep visiting it and saying, oh, if only we could. Oh, that's really nifty.
Yep, and then a little part of sugar cubes. And the great thing is, like, I'm not used to working, making a bag this big, really. I guess it is comparable, but if you look at the cat's faces and the eyes and the detail there, I think this is.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
I think this is fun.
I would like it if everybody who is on this stream and has backed the Kickstarter could go on the Kickstarter page and just comment what kind of tea Ada is having, but with no other explanation.
No context.
No context.
Yes.
I just want to really confuse everybody else in Steamforged who goes on that comments page for the rest of the night. So thank you. If you could help me with that, I would really appreciate it.
People just logging in and saying, Earl Grey.
Earl Grey. Assam. Darjeeling.
Amazing.
I'll give it little shock waves as it's being stepped on. And you've got little sugar cubes. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. So my plan for the model would be to polish up where the legs go into the bag. And on the back, I'm going to put some spanners, I'm going to put some hammers, maybe a bag of nails and nuts and bolts, like all the equipment that this little adventurer needs on the journey.
I love the fact that we advertised this as a cat sculpting stream when really it was a teapot robot butler bag sculpting stream all along.
It was.
What's the bag's name?
Put those little cubes up against the teapot, and you see this little hole in the handle. There's a good chance we'll probably have to fill that up.
Yeah, I would think we will.
But it'd be so small you won't notice. I know. When I'm doing sculpting like this, I'm always thinking, oh, it feels a shame, filling a hole up. But the reality is, you could probably get like a little sharp object or a knife or something and push it through if you wanted to. Or just paint it black. You won't notice it. It's so small. Because if I zoom out, this cat's going to be about.
Can I
this
just
size.
point out that Ada Lovelace and Charles Baggage is absolute genius.
Absolutely magnificent.
I take my hat off to you, Paul.
But now it's a rucksack. It feels, I don't know, and Mimi is still pretty good, but Charles Baggage, Paul Hempenstall, if I could kiss you, I would.
I don't think we're going to do better than that. So, Tom, do you want to just position it so we can see where we're up to?
Yep.
We will be revealing a polished up version of both the Watcher dog that was produced a few days ago and this cat, Ada and Charles Baggage, before the end of the campaign. So look out for those in an update very soon. we are going to be live on the Kickstarter for another 3 days. Tomorrow, Thursday, Friday. We finish at 6 p.m. on Friday. Please continue to keep an eye out. We've got lots more interesting things still to announce. Thank you for all your support so far. We genuinely couldn't do it without you. As you have seen this evening, you've been a critical part of the process and continue to be so. Thank you from myself. This is Russ, gentlemen.
Thank you. As you know, as I've said a couple of times, you really, really do push this whole enterprise up to completely new levels, and it really would not be anything like as good or as fun without you. So thanks for joining us. It's really been great to spend some time with you all, and thanks to Russ and Tom for having me along. It's been a pleasure to watch the two of you work and chat about it.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for this. Is not what I was thinking we were going to be sculpting today, and just like if your stream the other day, Russ, like the end result is phenomenally different than what we were thinking, but I love it all the same. In fact, I actually love it more because at what point do you get 50, 60 odd people throw ideas at you and you go, that's awesome, let's take that, let's take this, let's take that. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, great. Okay, thanks all. Have yourselves a very good day if it's the day, a very good night if it's the night, and we hope to speak to you all again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.